everyone, my name is Gabby and I am back with part 2 of my June and July wrap-up, which is all of my watches and experiences for the summer. I have TV shows to discuss with you, movies to discuss with you, music to discuss with you. We got a lot to discuss, and because I want this video to be as short as possible and concise as possible, there are some movies and things that I've watched over the summer that I have cut out of this video just because a lot of them I really don't think are worth discussing. A lot of them I really did enjoy, and I want to be able to take as much time as possible to be able to discuss the things that I watched over the summer that I'm really passionate about, or things that I think are worth discussing because I'm likely going to be talking about them later on in the future. With that all being said, we're gonna dive right in because you guys know I love to ramble and I want to be able to take as much time as possible to be able to discuss all of my watches and experiences for the summer. And I am just going to be putting everything together, talking about all the TV shows and all the movies and all the music and stuff all together rather than breaking it up by month, just to make it a little bit easier and simpler for myself in the editing process. Starting off with TV, I have 3 shows to discuss with you. The first is season 3 of Supergirl. So season 3 picked up from hiatus in April and wrapped up its 3rd season in June. Season 1 of Supergirl I absolutely love. It was on CBS. The show had such good potential, such great dialogue, such great comedic timing. Second season, not so much. It became a little bit of a mess. Things started to fall apart. It felt like the show really lost its ground when it moved over to the CW, and it just became something that it was not, and I feel like a lot of the potential and the image for the show and what it wanted to be got lost over at this new network. So we come into season 3, we're doing this whole Reign plotline, and it's not good. The show's getting progressively worse, and I'm just not getting into it. So when the show takes hiatus, I'm very happy. The writers are able to take some time to rewrite some episodes, fix some things. Come back from hiatus, and instead of diving right back into the plotline, getting right into the story and the characters, and like trying to tell the story and finishing it off right so that the writers can move into the 4th season, we get a win-centric episode, which I love. It's one of my favorite Supergirl episodes, but it was not the right time to air that episode as good as it was, because the writers need to pick right back up with the plotline, right back up with everything that was happening, and be able to just really continue and pick up momentum, and they did not do that at all. But granted, I loved that episode. I love Jeremy Jordan as Win. I love getting to see moments when the writers decide to highlight his character and give him moments to shine. He worked alongside Laurie Metcalf, who is like a goddess. He really proved himself. I love Jeremy Jordan. I loved the episode, but just was not right timing. And so the rest of the 3rd season felt very lackluster to me. I was getting very frustrated, and by the end I just wanted the show to be over so I could be done with it because I was just so frustrated with everything. I mean, I could spend hours discussing every little thing that I didn't like about the show and how upset I was with it. But that being said, the finale aired, and right before the finale we get this announcement that Jeremy Jordan's character is going to become a reoccurring role, and one of the other characters on this show is being stepped up to a series regular, and that's Brainy, who's played by Jesse Rath. And if you look at Win and Brainy, the two of them are very similar. The vibe that I got there was that it felt like Win was being really replaceable, and that we were just gonna take Win and replace him with Brainy, and just like the way that it looked, it was just not smart PR in any way, shape, or form, because it just set up a really bad precedent. A lot of people really didn't know what was going on, and it should have been a lot more effectively managed, and it just wasn't. But watching the finale, I was super tense because I had no idea what was gonna happen, and I was just scared for my life. But the finale was actually really good. I really enjoyed it. It wrapped up this 3rd season. It was an absolute train wreck very nicely. And I felt like it was more of a series finale than a season finale. There was a little bit of a cliffhanger at the end that makes me interested to know what the writers are going to do for season 4, but it's enough for me to only watch like 1 or 2 episodes to be like, okay, this is what they're doing, and then move on, because I don't think I can watch the show anymore, especially because I started watching it for Jeremy Jordan. He's not even really going to be in the show that much anymore because he's going back to Broadway, which I'm so excited about, especially because he's doing a Broadway play, gets to prove himself as an actor a little bit more, which I'm so excited about, and very happy for him that he has found his place back on a Broadway stage, because that's where he belongs, let me tell you. But I was very happy with this finale. I love that the Supergirl writers used Through It All by Charlie Puth in this sort of like final montage-y goodbye scene, because it felt super series finale-esque, and I could like look at that ending and be like, that's how the show ended, and like move on and never have to know anything else about Supergirl ever again. I'm glad this show wrapped up on a nice note, but like for the most part it was not my cup of tea. The next show that I binge watched in June on Netflix was Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. I watched every single episode episode, and let me tell you, this again was another one that I was feeling very about. It wasn't that great in my opinion. I feel like the comedy was just not my thing, and I was very confused as to like what direction the show was going in because they made some jokes that I felt super uncomfortable about, and I really didn't know what type of messages they wanted to send because there were some things that felt like they were very leaning one way and other things that felt like they were very leaning another way, and I just got very lost. And the humor for the show, the more that it started to happen, like the further down it started to dwindle. Titus was a character that I really loved. Who does not love Titus Burgess? He's an amazing actor. He has such great facial expressions, absolutely kills it. His character, I felt like was likable and he was very interesting, but like as you start to get into the later seasons, he becomes very obnoxious and very self-absorbed, and it's not in a way that's like quirky, it's in a way that's very annoying, and he had so many good things and he just ruined them all, and I just couldn't take it. I just feel like the whole women in a bunker thing, like that whole shtick, like I just not about it. But I watched the show for the cast. It has such a good cast. Ellie Kemper, Jane Krakowski, Carol Kane, who's an absolute icon, Titus Burgess, all of the guest stars in this show, including some very big names in the Broadway community. Derek Leno, Will Rowland was in an episode, and you all know I love Will Rowland. James Monroe Iglehart is another one that comes to mind. Daveed Diggs, I loved him. He was probably one of my favorite guest stars. So many great people that this cast made the show worth watching, and is really ultimately what helped me to keep going and watch it. Tina Fey's in several episodes. I just lived for the cast of this show. And I'm very interested to see how the second half of the 4th season wraps up because then the show's gonna be over. So I think it's worth it to watch like another 6, 7, 8 episodes maybe to be able to finish off this season and be able to see how the world ends. I'm glad I got to watch the show because I know there's a lot of people that really love it. Wasn't particularly for me in terms of the humor and the writing and stuff. There were some episodes I enjoyed. It was a show that I binge watched. I wanted something to watch this summer because television started to wrap up as the summer started. Needed something to binge watch. I came to Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. It satisfied my indulgences. Wasn't the greatest thing in the world. And the last television show I'm going to be discussing with you is one that's a little bit underhyped. Not a lot of people really know about it. It's just like super down low. I was scrolling through Netflix. I found it. I was like, what is this? Nobody's talked about this at all. I gotta watch it just because I gotta know what it's about. It's this little show, like I said, super underhyped called Queer Eye. So obviously you could tell I was being very sarcastic there because everyone and their mother loves Queer Eye. I mean, come on. I saw everyone talking about this show on my Twitter feed for such a long period of time, and me being me, I ignored it and was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that. And then I decided, you wanna know what? Everyone loves this. I need to watch it. I watched one episode and I became obsessed. So if you're unfamiliar with Queer Eye because you've been living under a rock, the basic premise of the show, 5 gay guys who are masters in their fields help other people get their shit together, and if that's not a mood, I don't know what is. But in all seriousness, there is a lot more that goes into that show than that one selling point. This show is about taking people who may be insecure or may have flaws or may need some help in their life and giving them a boost and giving them incentive in order to help them be their very best selves. And you have 5 people who are masters and craftsmen in their field that are able to help these people improve upon themselves. And I love that the tagline for the show is more than just a makeover, because truly that is what this show is. It's so much more than just taking a person and changing them. It's about working with these people that are entitled heroes and helping them to be able to improve upon themselves and be able to take the best elements of themselves and make them even better, and be able to take the things that they're flawed at or not as good at and be able to help them improve and grow to be able to be the best possible version of themselves that they can be. The show is incredibly emotional. If you don't watch it and cry, I think you're a soulless monster, because even I watched it and cried in several episodes because they're just so moving. I love these group of guys. They are like the best group of men ever. I love Anthony, who does food and wine. He's adorable and I live for him. We love Karamo, who does culture. He's just so cool and chill and I respect him immensely. You have Tan, who does fashion, who's adorable. You have Jonathan Van Ness, who does like hair care and things like that, who's an absolute sass bastard and I adore him. And then you have Bobby, who does the room and the interior, and I love getting to see his transformations. It's probably one of my favorite parts of this show because I grew up watching Extreme Makeover Home Edition, so I do have a guilty pleasure for that I like completely forgot existed, because it's been years since I've watched Extreme Makeover Home Edition or like any of those HGTV shows. I love getting to see those transformations because they're just so beautiful and so stunning, and other people's like actual transformations with Jonathan Van Ness does. All of the like discussions and things that they have, this is just so fun and so well filmed, and I love it, and it's so great, and I'm so excited for the 3rd season. The Queer Eye Boys are coming out with the book. I'm so excited for that. I'm obsessed with this show. It's wonderful. It's so wholesome and happy and one of the greatest things in the world. And one of the things that I love about this show is that that it's not meant to lean one way or another. It's about starting conversation. I feel like you don't see that enough in our society today, because people either lean to one way or another, and they're just so stuck in their own beliefs that they're not willing to be in the middle and have conversation. And that's what the show really promotes, is taking people, whether they're conservative or liberal or whatever it is that they may be, and having conversation with them. And one of the episodes that I think is so great, there's actually a few of them like this, are episodes where you have heroes who are really religious and come from a religious background, and a lot of discussion gets brought up about how gay culture has been very repressed by very religious societies. The experiences that these men have gone through with religion, and now having to meet with these religious people, having to make them over, and how that could potentially be uncomfortable for them, and getting to see that these people, a lot of the conversations that's had is that most people don't think in the way that's sort of been stereotyped in the church, in the way that they view gay culture and the gay lifestyle, and being able to see that now when people in today's society look and judge people individually rather than based on the way that they decide to have relationship. And that's really, really beautiful. Those episodes just have such great conversation, and it's nice to see that these men are willing and open to getting to hear other people's opinions, and that the people who are heroes that are nominated are willing to get to be able to hear the other side of the story. And just that conversation is so wonderful and so beautiful. We need more of it in society. I love it, I love it, I love it. I'm obsessed with Queer Eye. It's my new favorite thing in the entire world. I've watched both seasons. I need more. I'm so psyched that this show exists and that it's out there to be able to open people's minds and hearts. It's beautiful. I adore it. You need to watch Queer Eye. Moving on to movies, the first one that I'm going to be discussing with you is Bandstand. So this was a recording of a Broadway show that was brought to the screen by Fathom Events. The Broadway show stars Corey Cott and Laura Osnes, and it takes place after World War II and deals with a group of men who are veterans that are having to come back and deal with a whole bunch of trauma from the war, and all of them come together in order to form a band and compete in this competition to be able to get one of their songs featured in a movie. And this whole show is about getting to understand these men a little bit more and the trauma and the things that they've gone through, whether it be alcoholism or PTSD or OCD or insomnia, all of this weight that they need to carry on their shoulders and all these horrors that they've experienced, now having to come back and acclimate back into society when everything around them is still moving and changing, and sort of the disorienting experiences that they have because of that. And the show is so beautiful and so well done. Andy Blankenbuehler, who is the director for this show, won the Tony Award for Best Choreography because he also was a choreographer for Bandstand. That was so deserved. I was very, very excited to see how the choreography was going to be incorporated into the show, and it was very, very seamless. It's not like there's moments where there's dance breaks, it's just the choreography is just so perfectly put into the show, and it's very different than the choreography in Hamilton, which I think shows the wide range and versatility of what Andy Blankenbuehler can do with his choreography, and I love and adore him. I was very excited to see that he was a back-to-back two-time Tony Award winner because he deserves that immensely. He is so talented. And Laura Osnes and Corey Cott and everyone in the band, just, they're so amazing and so wonderful. And I did a whole Twitter thread about my thoughts on Bandstand, which I will find the link to that and leave it down below for you so you can hear all of my thoughts and opinions. I love this show so much. I listened to the cast recording. I absolutely loved it. It's so unique and different. I love that it takes like 40s and 50s music and takes this like old-timey style and incorporates it in with this sort of newer, modern age, like Broadway poppy stuff. Like, it's just so well orchestrated. And you have so many great voices and musicians and names and faces associated with this production. I love it so much. I wish I could have seen it on Broadway, but I'm very happy that I did get to see this recording because it was so wonderful. Bandstand is one of my new underappreciated favorites. I love it, I love it, I love it. I really hope that Bandstand comes to Netflix like Newsies did so that I can watch this production over and over and over and over, because I definitely know that I will. As for the other movies that I want to discuss with you, the first is an old favorite that a lot of people really love that I finally got to watch for the first time, and that is The Princess Bride. This is a movie that my grandma has been telling me to watch for years, and for whatever reason I was resistant to it because I'm very, very stupid. We've had this conversation before on this channel. There's things I end up really, really loving that initially I'm completely and entirely resistant to, and then I immerse myself in them, whether it be like a movie or a television show or a book, and once I experience it, I become absolutely head over heels obsessed. I've accepted that resistance is just necessary. I resisted Princess Bride for years, and I finally decided this summer I'm watching it. I need to see this. Oh my god, I am obsessed. I have found so many new passions this summer, and I'm so happy about it. Princess Bride is amazing. I love it. It like takes this fairy tale and spins it on its head. I love the humor in the Princess Bride. It's so well written because it's not this type of like slapstick humor, which is just not my thing at all. It's like very witty and clever humor that's all based on like wordplay and charming, and I just was obsessed. Carrie Elwes is gorgeous. I was like speechless watching him. He was stunning. Mandy Patinkin was so young, and I didn't even recognize him at all. There were so many people in this movie where I was like, I know you, I know you, I know you, you're all so young, what is happening? And I was just having a panic attack. I was screaming watching it. I got so into it to the point where now I added to my bookshelf these absolutely adorable Princess Bride Funko Pops of Inigo Montoya and Wesley, because the two of them are my faves. They're so cute. I love the little fight scene that they have. It's so well choreographed, absolutely insane. I love the Battle of Wits. This movie is one of the most quotable movies out there. It has such great lines. The script, the screenplay, absolutely phenomenal. I'm obsessed with The Princess Bride. I could go on like a tangent about it for hours because I love it so much. It's just the best thing in the entire world, and I will watch this movie over and over and over again because it's so great. It's so cute, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the cast. I love the screenplay. I love the story. It's just amazing. I love it. I love The Princess Bride. I'm obsessed. The final movie that I want to discuss with you is another one that easily became one of my favorites once I watched it, and that is The Edge of 17. This movie stars Haley Steinfeld and Woody Harrelson. I really loved this movie, and I've been dying to watch it forever. I remember seeing previews for it. I remember seeing it appear everywhere during award season, but I never got the opportunity to watch it just because either I was really busy around the time that the movie came out and it really wasn't in any theaters near me, and I wanted to rent it and there wasn't anywhere where I could find to rent it, and I just like never got around to watching it until this summer. I was gonna be seeing Haley Steinfeld. She was gonna be opening up at the concert that I was going to be going to, and I just knew I needed to watch this movie, and I finally did. And let me tell you, I'm so glad that I waited because I could not have watched this movie at any other moment and be as emotionally touched by it as I was now. Haley's character is in her junior year of high school, and she has an older brother that she's always been compared to. He's in AP classes, he's popular, he's in sports and clubs and activities. He's like your all-around American boy. She constantly has to be compared to that and feels like a disappointment because she doesn't live up to everything that her brother is. She has one friend that's always been there for her. She's had a really close relationship. It's the one person she's had that's always been hers. And then that friend goes and dates her brother, and that feels like a huge betrayal to her because it feels like her friend is choosing her brother over her, and now she has nobody. There's a guy that likes her in her history class, but she's sort of awkward, really doesn't want to talk to him. There's this other really popular guy that she likes, so she's sort of navigating these relationships, trying to figure things out. Things start to go awry, and the only other person that she has is her father, and he died, I believe, when she was about 13 in a really tragic way. She's sort of had to deal with that. She lives with her mother, who she really doesn't have that good of a relationship with. So this whole movie is her navigating her junior year, working out her relationship with her brother, her best friend, her mom, and these two guys that she likes, her being able to come into her own skin. And really, in order to deal with all of this, when she feels like she has absolutely no one at all to come to, she comes to her history teacher, who's played by Woody Harrelson, and there's this beautiful conversation that's one of my favorite scenes in the movie that they have, and she talks about how she can't connect with anyone in millennial culture because she's interested in like old movies and TV shows and music, and she likes old people, and she just doesn't connect with teenagers and they don't connect with her. Like that whole entire scene I just so related to. And Woody Harrelson's character comes off as a bit of a jerk. You really don't know that much about him, but as the movie goes on, you get to see him open up a little bit more. You get to see if there's a lot more to his character than what meets the surface, and I really, really loved that. This movie touched me so much because the relationship that Haley and Woody's characters have with each other is very similar to the relationship that I had with my physics teacher, and seeing that on screen before I ever even went through what I went through with my physics teacher, because this movie came out before my junior year of high school, it made me feel less weird about what it is that I went through, because if I could see it on a movie screen, clearly dozens of people have gone through what I've went through and have found really close relationships with their teachers when they've had no one else to come to, and it was just so beautiful and moving, and I'm so glad that I saw it. It's touched me forever. It's gonna be one of my favorite movies because seeing a movie like that after going through my my junior year, which I've talked about so much because it's such a huge part of who I am now. I just needed that immensely, and I'm so glad I got to see it on screen. Woody Harrelson, Haley Steinfeld, two of my favorite actors in the world. They were just amazing on screen. I loved the two of them together. I loved their chemistry. I loved the scenes they shared together. It was just everything I could have wanted and more. I loved this movie. It's one that I'm definitely going to want to rewatch, and I'm so glad I finally watched it for this first time, and I'm glad that I watched it when I did because it touched me forever. So now to talk about music that I've been listening to, we have lots of Broadway cast recordings to discuss because June was Tony season. I could talk about the Tonys more, but I'm just gonna say I wasn't too happy with this round. There were people that I think deserved Tonys that did not get them. That's all I'm gonna say. Not gonna bother to rant because there's nothing I can do about it. It's done. It's over with. I'm just gonna enjoy my shows, and people enjoyed their shows, and awards don't matter. But the cast recordings that I did listen to prepare for Tony season. First one is Mean Girls. I really had no idea what my thought was when this first came to Broadway because I just like wasn't sure how it was gonna work, how they were gonna do it. Like I just was very, very like unsure. But I love the cast of Mean Girls. They're probably one of my favorite Broadway casts at the moment. Such a great group of people. They have such great chemistry and they're so fun. And when I listened to this cast recording, it was just so perfect for the show and everything that I had envisioned in my mind. There were so many great songs. The voices in this cast are phenomenal. I have so many favorites. It's so hard to pick one. Revenge Party is definitely at the top though, but Till Someone Gets Hurt is another really great one. There's Meet the Plastics, Where Do You Belong? We could be here for a while discussing all my favorite songs on this cast recording. It's just so good and everything that I could want from this show and more. I listened to SpongeBob next. This is another show where I was like, I'm not really a big SpongeBob fan. I watched SpongeBob growing up, but it's not really my favorite thing in the world. It's not my type of humor. But again, you're bringing it to Broadway. I'm very interested to see like what is this about. I remember seeing it when it was opening up in Chicago for the first time, like seeing advertisements for it, not actually getting to see the show. I was just really unsure as to what it was gonna be, but the songs are really cute and fun. I don't really have a favorite because I listen to every single one, but I like them all equally. It really wasn't one that stood out to me. It's still a really cute show. I think it would be one that I would actually love to see because I feel like it's one of those shows where it goes beyond the cast recording, that when you have to see it on stage, like with the sets and the costuming and the choreography and the staging and all of that good stuff, it just adds so much more to it than just listening to the songs themselves. I really don't feel like I got enough of exposure to the show to really be able to judge it just based on the cast recording, but the Tony performance was really good. I think the cast is another really, really great group of people. Obviously, a lot of changes have been made from that original cast recording. They came out around the time when the Chicago run was happening. I really don't think I can judge the show that much, but it's cute. Again, another one that I like, and I'm glad that I got the opportunity to be exposed to, even though I know it's closing, which I'm really sad about, but I know there's a lot of people that really love this show, and that's all that you can ask for. The next Broadway cast recording that I'm going to be discussing with you is Carousel. Hands down, the only reason why I listened to Carousel was for Joshua Henry singing Soliloquy because, oh my god, is that a treat and a half. I love Joshua Henry. That man is so talented. I want him to win the Tony. That was really honestly my biggest gripe, is that he didn't win. Still salty about it. I'm not even gonna say slightly salty because it's lots of salty. It's like extra salty. But it's fine. It's fine. I adore Joshua Henry. I've gotten to meet him. He's so wonderful and amazing, and I adore him with every fiber of my being. And him singing Soliloquy after literally just having a son and being a father for the first time, like, shit, man, I can't even describe to you what an emotional, like, roller coaster that is. But it's beautiful, and everyone in the show can sing, and the choreography is stunning. I'm so glad Carousel won Best Choreography for the Tonys. Most deserved award by far, other than Once on This Island winning Best Survival. Two of my favorite wins of this Tony season. I love this show so much. I really wish I could see it, but it's closing too, and I'm so sad. I would really, really love to see this show because I feel like it's so much more than its cast recording, a lot like SpongeBob is. And obviously Carousel and SpongeBob, two completely different ends of the spectrum, but I feel like they have that idea in common. I just want to see Joshua Henry do Carousel. Like, that's all I want. And I already talked about Bandstand. I listened to that cast recording. As for favorite song off of that, Donnie Nowitzki, because oh my god, can Corey Cott sing that song. Wow. Then there's Laura Osnes' number at the end of the show called Welcome Home, which is so beautiful and emotional, and I really, really love that. There's Nobody, which is another really fun and poppy song. I Love You Deserve It, that's another fun poppy song. There's a lot of really, really good songs on this cast recording, but I definitely love some of the more funnier dance songs that you can like sing along with in the car. That's typically my type of vibe when it comes to like Broadway shows, whether I like them or not. If I feel like I can sing along, like I feel like I can really get into it, and those are the songs for me that I love the most. But everyone in this cast is absolutely stunning. And one of the things I love is that the band members can actually play their instruments, and they're playing them on stage, which is so amazing, and I love it. And again, that Twitter thread will be down below for you to hear all my thoughts and opinions on Bandstand. You should go and check it out. Now to talk about experiences and things that I've been doing this summer. To start off my summer, I went on vacation to Washington, D.C. / Virginia. My first day, I got to visit around Washington, D.C., got to see some of the monuments. I didn't go into any of the museums at all because we had a late flight, so by the time that we really got in and got situated and things, most of the museums were closed. So definitely want to go back to Washington, D.C. to get to see more of that. But while I was in D.C., I got to see Molly from Magical Molly and her friend Kat, who were in D.C. for a book signing, and I got to hang out with them. We got to see the Lincoln Memorial. We got to go to dinner together at Old Ebbitt's Grill, which is really, really good. And if you're in D.C., that's the place to go. I love the food. It was amazing. I tried poutine for the first time. A really, really cool experience. I loved getting to see Molly again. I'm just so happy that I have a friend in her in the community because she's so incredibly supportive of me and so kind and sweet and wonderful. She's doing a lot of really, really cool stuff right now. She has a project called Her Story, which she's putting her heart and soul into. If you want to check that out, I'll leave all of her links down below where you can go and find out more information about that because it's just really, really cool, and I'm really glad I got the opportunity to see her and catch up very, very briefly because she's definitely a friend of mine in the community, and to be able to get to see her was a really unexpected surprise, and I'm very, very happy I got to fulfill that on this trip. Other than that, I got to visit Mount Vernon, I got to visit Monticello, I got to see Yorktown, so it was lots of like Hamiltonian experiences, and of course I was listening to the Hamilton cast recording throughout all of this. Coolest moment was playing the Battle of Yorktown while I was driving through Yorktown battlefield. That was just insane and like mind-blowing. I got to see the readout where like the whole rap goes down with like the bullets out your guns, what? The bullets out your guns, what? And that whole thing was just, it was so cool. It was amazing, and I'm never gonna forget that. It was so cool to get to be in these places where history happened, especially after taking AP US history, because I could appreciate it so much more than I ever would have at any other time. So that vacation was just perfectly timed. It was so cool to get to see around all of Virginia, get to travel around, get to see all of these places that are so steeped in our history, in our country, and where we are today, because without like the Revolutionary War, we wouldn't have America today, and the Civil War, the America that we have today would be divided. I mean, technically in the way it is now, but we're still the United States, divided in other ways. But anyway, that trip was really cool. I'm really glad I got to take it. I got a lot out of it, and it was a really fun trip. Later on in July, I found out my AP test scores, and I've talked a lot about junior year and AP tests, like that whole thing, how it was really, really overwhelming, especially in May. And I got 5s on both my AP tests. I'm very, very proud because I worked so hard to get those 5s, and it made me feel very, very validated, especially getting that 5 in AP US history, because it felt like I could enjoy looking around and all of like the historical things. So I was like, I learned this, I understood this, and I knew it, and I was able to get that 5, and it just felt very, very gratifying, and especially in AP Lang too, because I did feel very good about that test, so I was happy I got a 5. I'm just so excited the college credit I'm gonna get for that. I'm just proud of myself for being able to take those tests, be able to get that good grade. It just made like the cherry on top of the sundae that was the hell of my junior year, and I'm very, very happy that I was able to end that year in a very nice and fulfilling way, and that was just a really good thing to be able to have this summer to sort of cap off my junior year and say salutations to everything that I went through. And obviously not entirely goodbye, because I'm gonna take a lot of my experiences from junior year with me into senior year in college, but being able to like close the door on that year, being able to move into my senior year is just a really nice treat. I got my license, which was really cool. I've waited forever just because I really didn't need it the way that other teenagers do. I can't really afford to buy a car. There's just like lots of reasons why it just really wasn't necessary for me, but I finally did it, and the test went really well. I was super happy I was finally able to conquer that milestone, because I had horrible anxiety when it came to driving, and it was more being afraid of other drivers and what they were gonna do, and me being a little bit afraid of myself and not trusting myself and being able to break down that barrier. It was just great, because 2018 feels like the year of breaking down barriers, being comfortable in my skin, being able to become more confident. That was just something for me that felt so amazing and so gratifying, and I just couldn't have been happier that I finally have that license in my hand. It's just the first step towards adulthood. That's weird. I don't like thinking about that, but I did that. That's something to be proud of and something that I want to share with all of you. And finally, to wrap up my July, I got to see a Charlie Puth concert. I got to see him headline the Voice Notes tour at Haley Steinfeld Open. It was an amazing experience. If you want to check out my vlog from the event, the link will be down below. That that pretty much covers everything and anything about that concert. It was such an emotional experience for me. I was so excited to get to see it. It was amazing. Charlie was phenomenal. I loved his set list. I loved Haley's set list. It was just an overall wonderful, wonderful night. Best way to end my July, sort of begin to conclude my summer. So that is about it for part 2 of my June and July wrap up. So many crazy things happened this summer, and it's amazing looking back at all of it now thinking I'm gonna be a senior. Wow. Okay, that I don't need to think about right now. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to check out the description, plenty of links are there for you to check out. Anything that I mentioned in this video is there for you. My social media is there for you. My email is there for you. My teen reads and Goodreads is there for you to check out. Go and look at all the links. Enrich yourself. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with a new video. Goodbye!
Broadway, here I come.